Hello, I'm Mass and welcome to BonkTable. Today I'm doing another Conquest battle report. I'm playing Fast Dweg, what is a list pioneered by Brian, who is the winner of the 2024 LVO, and I'm playing it into a variant of my Horse Lord list from Adepticon. Because Ashen Dawn got a points increase, I had to play around with the list a little bit, so I dropped Mountain Squires, added in some Merc Crossbows, nothing too crazy. And I'm playing a friend of mine who is thinking about getting into the game, bought some Old Dominion, hasn't really built it. Him and I have played like a demo game or two, and now we're kind of playing a bit of a full-size game. And we're just going to kind of have some fun. So I'm playing Dweghom, he's playing my 100k, and let's get into lists. Here is the Fast Dweghom list. It has an Argent Kilo as a Warlord. This guy's also running Focused for the reroll on the 2 spellcasting dice. Kind of needed it, to be honest. There's plenty of times where I just failed rolls, and I'm like, oh, this really sucks. He's running 2 Flame Berserkers and a unit of Wardens. This guy will be sitting in a block of Wardens because he wants to come on a bit later and stay safe, as he is the Warlord, because I want to use his Warlord ability, what is, +2 charging against enemy regiments that are on zones for a turn, as well as all the command stands get +2 attack, so that really benefits Wardens and Flame Berserkers, and it's just kind of nice on the Initiate block, what the Hold Ray is using. Then I got another Argent Killua, who has Memory Breath with Aura of Death +1. He's sitting in a unit of Flame Berserkers. I kind of want one Argent Killua up and early, just so that, I can get some zone scoring done early on, hopefully get my Rancor spell off so I can score the zone, and just kind of run up the table and be really quick and start that scoring engine. Turn 2, I bring on the other Argent Killua, and I start kind of like bouncing spells off of each other, kind of, sort of. So like if the first one fails, I'll just position the Wardens behind them, like within 12, and then cast it from the character onto them. If there's another unit of Flame Berserkers on the table that's in a zone, well, they're getting cast on, so using it to kind of score more zones. His Warband, 1 unit of Flame Berserkers and 2 units of Wardens. Wardens themselves, really like. They're very durable into other mediums, and they punch up very well because they're getting 21 Clash 3, Cleave 1 attacks, inspiring to 4s, so you're getting a lot of hits off of that, especially once we get to the Ironclad Drake. If the Ironclad Drake is within 8 inches of a regiment, the character and command stand get to reroll their attack rolls, so 9 of these attacks are going to be rerolling, what's really good. This does happen, what's really fun, because I'm like, yay, rerolls! And allows you to kind of save some actions, but you still kind of want to inspire to Clash 4, because it's still good. Lastly, got a Hold Ray. He's using Dragonberg. I don't even know how to say this thing. This is the Cleave 3 weapon. I don't even know what it looks like, so I'm just going to assume it's an axe, because he has an axe. And then Fueled by the Furnace, what gives him Relentless Blows. So every one he rolls will do a second hit, what will also be Cleave 3. So that's really nice. He's sitting in a big block of Initiates. There's like 7 of them. He's the one who's doing like the most of the damage in the block. Well, the Initiates themselves are going to be defense 4 and just annoying and in the way, and just be like, "Ah, you got to chew through all of us," and it's just really difficult to do. And the whole Ray will slowly chew through everybody, and you can set up to have someone come and help them, or just kind of take over a zone or sit in a zone and keep people out. Lastly, there is an army rule. I think it's called the Argent Creed. Item to be gained. Nope. Is it on here? I don't think it might not even be on here. No, it's not. Alright, let me go grab my phone and let me go pull this up. Just want to get the army rule, because it did come up this game and I totally forgot about the last game. The Dweghom Creeds. An Argent Killer must select the Argent Creed. The Argent Creed. The first time a regiment in this army would be broken. During the battle, the regiment performs an out-of-sequence free additional rally or combat rally action at the end of the action that caused it to be broken. This effect only triggers once per battle for each regiment. Okay, so you get broken from the action, and then you just become unbroken. This was brought up to me like halfway through the game, so I catch on like much later, and I think I used it once or twice. But a lot of the times I just rallied and clashed, or I used the spell, what is it? Resolve, and just auto rallied and it had the inspire and then clashed and went from there. So it's not a huge army rule, it's just it comes up every once in a while. It's just something to be aware of, and that was something that I got reminded of by another player. So with that, let's just slow roll the rules Pause the video at any time if you see a rule you want to read, and then we'll go into the horse list. Alright, let's go to the horse list. Have fun with that. Here's the horse list. I just called it Horse Lord 2. I couldn't think of a cool name. I was just kind of like, meh, whatever. It's running a lot of the same stuff that it was running before, like the prior Commander Warband, Sealed Temple, Order of Sealed Temple, Order of Ashen Dawn. They're all the same. 2 5s, 2 MSUs, and a character. No upgrades. Warlord. Done. The Mounted Noble Lord, he lost his Lorien Lance. Still kept everything else. Still Lord, Speed of Horse, Weapon Master. The Mounted Squires, we lost a Veteran Mounted Squire, and it got changed into an MSU Armor Crossbows. And then everything else stayed the same. So it's still doing the same thing, but it has a little bit of shooting support, but I don't mind. There was another thought of myself to add a second unit of Merc Crossbows, but I was kind of getting a little like stuck on points when I did that. Like, I don't know, maybe I could have added another stand, so there's like 2 units of 4 stands. It was kind of like whatever. And it was just a lot of stuff that I kind of just had in my bag as I redid my 100k bag. And kind of went with that. Like, I think it could be optimized a little better. Like, I might drop both Mounted Squires and then just have 2 units of crossbows that are like 4 wide and shooting. That's kind of fine. And then have all the other horses running around. Mounted Squires do kind of work, kind of don't work. I think I value the shooting more because of the speed of the House of Knights, and they can just get in the way and protect the Merc Crossbows, and then get into fights, and the Merc Crossbows can just like do support shots, so that helps. Still has the same game plan of like being fast, holding spots, doing weird stuff, and then waiting for the Ashen Dawn to show up to like kill everything. So not a whole lot about this list that I'm going to go over. It's, you know, I've played this a billion times for like an entire year at this point, so I'm a little done with it. Like, you know, it's kind of ran its course, and yeah. Also, I just slowed the rules, so you could rewind and pause and go like that. So yeah, let's go to the scenario. All right, today's scenario is melee. I like this scenario a lot because the scenario zones are within the middle 2 feet of the table. So there's usually a lot of action happening. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and you have to fight over these zones to win. This scenario has kill points on it, but you can kind of just outscore your opponent and just trade back and forth to score regiments and characters and warlords to win. So I don't actually look at these kill points right off the bat. There and there. When I play this, I'm actually really focusing on the scenario. So 9 times out of 10, I'm looking to lock down these 2 scenario zones as quickly as possible to score them. After that, I make a huge push onto this 6-incher and try and lock that down as well. I kind of a lot of the times just let my opponent take this 9er over here and then fight them out on that left side. It's usually a good idea to just lock down those zones and then contest your opponent on that, because then they're missing out on points and you just gain a point lead and you'll just win through just points on the scenario. If your opponent is killing all your stuff and you score, I don't know, 3 of these, like the 2 6s and the 9, 2 or 3 times in a row, they're just not going to be able to catch up, is what I've kind of found on this one. So I find melee to be, like, it looks like a kill point scenario, but it really isn't. You want to play for the zones, you need to play for the zones, because if you don't, your opponent's going to just carry that score and run away with it. These zones do matter, and I tend to find using the strategy of taking over the closest 6 and 9 works really well, and then pushing into your opponent's 6. Or even sometimes, you'll see me in this game, I start making a play for their 9 as the table develops. Because it was kind of weekended, I'm like, what if I just took this? So yeah, let's go to the table. Here's a table we played on today. You got all your zones. You can see them in red there. Bloop, bloop. And we got these obscuring forests. We didn't put anything too crazy on anything here. It was kind of just like 1 thing per terrain piece, just to keep it simple. My opponent is this is his first big game, so, you know, you don't want to overload him with anything. We got 2 hills for elevation over here. Those are really fun. This is broken ground. It's like rubble thing. This is building. B-L-D-G. Perfect. Shorthand. And then we got 2 things of water. Things that actually kind of became not an issue, but were relevant were all the stuff over here and this stuff. Perfect. I would actually, here, let's just do this. Those scenario pieces are relevant this game. So having 6 of the, 9 scenario pieces relevant now throughout the game, pretty good. They were on zones, we were interacting with them, they were helping out and kind of just like showing up and doing stuff. Besides that, I don't know. It's fine table. It's fine scenario. I like it. Let's go turn 1. Here's turn 1. I get all my Flame Berserkers on and my Urgent Killua, as you can see. And my opponent gets his Merc Crossbows and his Mountain Squires on. So my first idea is, hey, I want to score that 6-inch zone. I'm going to get the Argent Kill and the Flame Berserkers. I'm going to run them over there. And then I want to score the 9-inch zone, so I'm just going to start making a play for that. And by that point, my opponent had showed his hand, and he, dropped Merc Crossbows in the back line there. Probably could have had them over here so that he has clearer lines of fire. But over where he is, that's okay. Everything else in his list is faster than them, so they're just all going to hop his guys. He's in a really good spot anyway. Well, not really good, but, because I've already made the comment of go over there. But it's not a bad position. It will support that zone, and he can push out from it once he gets to the woods. His Mountain Squires going over here. We kind of talked about Dweghom before we played this game and what he wants to do to try and beat Dweghom. He wants to kind of get into my back and side. I want to preserve my rotation and movement and want to fight him head on. However, because I'm playing like this MSU spam list, I can easily trade Mountain Squires, and him putting them all the way over there and running up the table, I kind of look at it and I'm like, alright, well, I might just drop a unit of warders over there at some point and just like kill Mountain Squires. They're not going to do enough damage into warders, and I'll just take the Mountain Squires with the warders. And then I can push later on into this scenario, depending on what else happens. Lastly, these Flame Berserkers right here, they're just gunning for this scenario piece. Like, I just want to go start bothering him, take his 6-inch, start getting that scenario, getting those points as early as possible. And so I'm just kind of going straight forward, gunning for it. Let's go to turn 2. Here's turn 2. I get my second Warlord and 1 unit of Wardens, and that's it. My opponent gets a unit of Hellsoul Knights and his 2 units of Steel Temple. I kind of just slowly move up with a couple things, like Flame Berserkers, both run up and get into the zone, both the command stand. I get the score spell off on both of them. This Argent Killua casts on this regiment. We're good. This Warden unit is looking to get into the 6-inch zone later, and then cast on the other Flame Berserkers to get the score spell off, so I'll have lockdown and maintenance of those zones. While my other Flame Berserkers are just kind of running up the table. My opponent takes aim and shoots with his crossbows into my Flame Berserkers, but he's at half shots because of the woods. That's A-okay with me. He starts looking at putting stuff into the zone. He kind of just rotates and keeps the Mountain Squires here. He doesn't really gun for it because he hasn't seen what else I have, because a lot of my other mediums didn't show up this turn, so he doesn't know what I'm going to do to fill in this gap over here, or if I'm going to do it at all, because I have a very strong presence on the left side of the board. He has a very strong presence in like this, but he's not really gunning for scenario too hard right now. His Sealed Temple didn't get into the zone, but they ran up and they wheeled. His other Sealed Temple ran up and wheeled. So he's looking to kind of push out after the Flame Berserkers and the Household Guard right here make contact, depending on who goes first and what happens. With that, I score 2 + 3, 5, 7 points to his 2 points. So far, I'm in a really good spot, but I want to keep it that way. And I'm still worried about the Ashen Dawn because there's going to be 10 of them coming on. And I know 5 of them are showing up for sure next turn, so we'll see if the other 5 also show up. Let's go to turn 3. Here's turn 3. I get my Hold Rain Initiate block, and I get my Ironclad Drake. Sweet. He only gets, no, he doesn't only get, but he gets his other unit of Household Knights and his Ashen Dawn. So, first things first, I declare my supremacy, and I'm like, okay, Flame Berserkers, who are right here, you're going to charge those Household Knights. The Household Knights say, okay, we roll off. I'm first. I'm like, sweet, I need a 2 to get in. I roll a 1. I don't have any banners. I walk forward 1 inch. My opponent goes, sweet. He rolls, I don't know, a 5, gets in, kills all the Flame Berserkers. And I'm like, yay. He's still scoring the zone at that point. He's like, butts touching the zone. I then go, alright, Argent Killua, Flame Berserkers, charge to the side, you're auto in, do a bunch of damage, kill him. Sweet. To resolve that, he brings up his Sealed Temple to score the zone right there. He's on it, so he's scoring that. Perfect. And then he also has his Household Knights coming up on the side here with the Mounted Noble Lord to charge my Flame Berserkers. So I'm like, that's not that great. So they're kind of in a crappy pinch. I move up my Ironclad at this point to kind of really help out and support all that. But that's not looking too great. Lost a unit of Flame Berserkers. The other unit of Flame Berserkers in the character are in a really bad spot to kill his Household Knights. I didn't really want to get charged again because he's going to just keep like charging and killing me. And I'm like, I got to kind of put a stop to this. Because he moved his Sealed Temple and his Household Knights over there, and we're kind of forcing a fight in the middle, I drop my Initiate block, which are being represented by these Men-at-Arms, and the Hold Ray. And I look at it, and it's like, okay, a unit of Sealed Temple, a unit of Mounted Squires. I'm just gonna, like, run up the table. He puts his Mounted Squires to be on the edge of the zone there, to keep me out. He's looking to try and get a March Charge into my Ironclad, but because I dropped my Initiates there, he can't cross that line between the building and the Initiates. He'll touch me and won't be able to get through. So now he has to deal with the Initiate block. Sweet. I can go fight over, kill those guys with the Hold Ray and his million dudes and take over that zone. And take 2 regiments for my 1. I'm feeling really confident about that. I don't really care how long it takes. It just needs to not take so long that the scoring that I lose from trying to fight and take over that zone is lost. Other developments, these warders get on the zone. Argent Killua casts a score spell on those guys over there, those Flame Berserkers. They kind of just rotate. And the last thing my opponent does is he runs up his Ashen Dawn to go take that zone. And I'm like, well, those Flame Berserkers are probably dying. There's not really much I can do. But he doesn't really have anything over there to support the Ashen Dawn. So if he wants to score, he has to leave that zone. So maybe he'll just stay over there and I don't have to worry about him anymore. But Ashen Dawn usually just want to get into a fight and keep fighting. With this board state, it's very strong in my opponent's favor at this point. He's got 2 horses in the middle that can really just chew through those Flame Berserkers. I got to follow up with the Ironclad, but I don't really want to just have everyone die. I'm making a play on the right side, but that's going to take me a while to kill the 2 regiments and keep... He's going to have plenty of time to keep me off there for at least a minimum of like 2 to 3 turns. So that's going to be a slow score over there. And he has another unit of Ashen Dawn. One of the things that is going for me at this point is I'm also got to deploy 2 more Warden units so I can shore up some weaknesses, cover some stuff, maybe apply more force on the other side to punch through. So we'll see how that goes. I score the little one and the big one. He scores the little one and the big one. We both score 7. On to turn 4. Here's turn 4. So, things that happen. Household Knights. Charge into my Flame Berserkers. Kill them. Actually, they didn't kill him. They left 1 Flame Berserker on 1 wound. And I'm like, sweet. I'll use the character. He'll rally them, or cast the Inspire Rally spell. And then I'm going to Combat Reform. And I rolled a 6. And because I only had a wound left, I only had 1 standing contact, I immediately take a wound and die. Oh, what an idiotic fucking move. So, I didn't need to reform my Flame Berserkers. I think I was just within 8 from the Hellbringer Drake, so I would have got the rerolls anyway. It's still 9 attacks into Household Knights. I could have still done damage. I kind of lost a character and a regiment. Like, they were going to die to other stuff, like to Merc Crossbows. But, like, you know, they were around. I could have done some work. I could have done more with them. They could have been cleared off and then ran back into this zone. You know, I'll do it in green. Where's green? There we go. You know, like, they could have ran back in that zone and scored it and stayed safe. Like, you can see my next move where I got the Warden block with the Caraway into those Household Knights and killed them all. Which is fine, but it was just like, Damn. Rolled a 6. I only had 1 health left. Like, didn't need to do that. So that really sucked, but I did take his House of Knights. The Merc crossbows, I believe they shoot at the warders, or I save it all, or they just move up, because it was later on by the time, you know, why it happened. So they're just kind of up there in the forest. Nothing too crazy. He moves his Sealed Temple around to get more on the zone. And what else happened? My Initiates here charged into the Mountain Squires, killed Mountain Squires. He charges me back with the Sealed Temple, kills off a stand. Or does he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, he kills a stand and does like a wound. Nothing too crazy. Oh, by the way, he's getting another unit of Ashen. I'm getting my last units of Warders. So this unit of Warders comes up this way to support those Initiate block, do enough damage, punch through. Once I get an Initiate block on the zone, I can kind of try and fight those Ashen Dawn. And if he's taking those 2 big zones, I can kind of spread out and just kind of piecemeal him and then like take 3. So I'm not super worried. His Ashen Dawn just march charge into the Flame Berserks. He gets me in the side. I lose a stand. Flame Berserks, these ones roll the 5 or less, reform, and then stab Ashen Dawn, but they bless it off, and, you know, we just kind of trade blows. More Wardens, they just run up the table, and my last card is my Ironclad Drake. So I'm really looking at it with my Ironclad Drake. I don't need Wardens being charged by Sealed Temple, but I need to stop him from scoring, because right now my opponent's going to be scoring 8 points, because he has control of both these outer zones, and I'm leaving my zone, so I don't want to give him another 2 points there. So I charge my Hellbringer Drake from this position up into there. He just does a march charge. Does 3 damage, but I'm engaging the Sealed Temple at this point. So I'm like, okay, sweet. We're in a really good spot now. Ironclad Drake can kill the Sealed Temple and the character. Warders can kill the crossbows. Other unit warders can get into the zone, fight off the Sealed Temple. And then it's just the 2 units of Ashen Dawn who can only kill 1 thing a turn, and I can probably get enough force around that I can just mob one of these 2 regiments down, and then try and just, you know, get him to chase me and just score him out. But with that, I don't score anything. Opponent scores 8 on to turn 5. Here's turn 5. So my opponent, realizing that the middle's gonna collapse and he doesn't want to be swarmed by a bunch of dwarves on at least one of his units of Ashen Dawn, wheels his Ashen Dawn this way to help the middle out. My Ironclad Drake inspires clashes, does a bunch of damage to Sealed Temple, but doesn't kill them off. They're on like 1 or 2 wounds. Not Wardens. Merc crossbows get to shoot. I think they shot Wardens, killed a stand. Wardens charge in and kill Merc crossbows, as you can see. Now he has 2 stands to my 4. I'm scoring that zone. Sweet. Wardens run up and wheel or reform or whatever, but you know, we're scoring this one, so we're doing good there. Like getting back on the board. Ashen Dawn reply, kill Flame Berserkers. All right, you know, you served your purpose, did your job, but I'm fine with Ashen Dawn just scoring that zone. You could stay over there. Now this is where I get greedy. The Hold Ray does not inspire. They just clash. And I kill 2 of the horses? No, I do inspire clash this. Next turn, I get greedy. So this turn, you'll find, spoilers. This turn, I just inspire clash. 1 of the horses left on 4 wounds. So it's just 1 stand left, and he rallies and clashes back. I think he does a wound or 2, but this battle happens. So it's like, okay, well, I can't charge you with my Wardens. So I'm going to prevent you from scoring, so I just run up the table, and I'm like, okay, well, I can get on the zone, score, well, not score it, but, you know, there's 1 stand, but, you know, next turn I can score it, and I can start making my way towards these Ashen Dawn, because they're looking to get into that Ironclad Drake, and I'm looking to crunch Ashen Dawn so that they'll die, because one of the ways to kill Ashen Dawn, especially if you have melee regiments, is you want to gang up on them all in 1 turn, so they blow their blessed, and you can just get work into them. So that's what I'm kind of trying to set up here. However, that is, I think this is turn 5. This looks very turn 5 to me. Yeah, I think it's about turn 5. So, opponent scores 3 points over here, and then doesn't score anywhere else. I score the 2 middle ones, so I get 6 points. All right, getting back on the board, taking a lead, doing well. Let's go to turn 6. Here's turn 6. So things that go on, my opponent at this point has 5 cards left. And I want to know where the Ashendon are going. He can't get the Ashendon to the Ironclad Drake. I want the Drake to hit him before he hits me. So the Ironclad Drake is going on spot 6. And I have 7 cards left. So I'm like, okay, it can take another round of hits from the Sealed Temple. Not the end of the world. I think it was last turn or the turn before my opponent used the Blessed Supremacy to take some wounds, but it's not the end of the world there, wherever that happened. And I'm trying to like draw out my opponent. So my opponent does the Sealed Temple first, attacks the Ironclad Drake. He took 3 wounds before, now he's at 11 wounds out of his 17, and I'm like, okay, well, I got 6 wounds left, but I'm alive. I'm gonna hit my opponent with 12 attacks. My opponent only has like 1 health left. It's gonna kill this thing. Okay, cool. But Ashendon have moved into the position they currently are, right behind the Sealed Temple. So I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? I look at it for a bit with this warder unit that was sitting here, and I'm trying to charge Ashendon, and I realize that the only way I can charge them is from the front, from their current position. So I'm like, well, I want to leave space for the Drake, because if I land in the front, the Drake won't be able to get in. I need the Drake to get in. My Warden's on the right. They happen much later, but they move up to get more scoring stands, but they're chasing after that Ashendon regiment as well. So I'm kind of like, all right, like, you know, we're trying to get all that force on that one regiment of Ashendon. My opponent reformed into that cube, I believe, the previous turn to get over. With this regiment over here, I march up, and then I just charge my opponent in the side, locking him down. So he's got to burn his actions if he's going to try and kill the Wardens to get to the Drake. And I've locked him down at this point. So I'm like, okay, sweet. We're in a really good spot there. On the left, Ashendon realize that they cannot get to the Warders because my Wardens act first. And I just back up a little bit to stay out of march charge range. Still scoring that zone. Yay. My opponent replies with moving up to just toe the zone. And scores it, but getting back into march charge range. Yay! This is the turn where I get greedy and I have the Hold Ray clash so I can keep the march. I clash the Sealed Temple. The Initiates clash the Sealed Temple. My opponent rolls really well and only takes 2 wounds. So he's got 2 left, and I'm like, you have to be fucking kidding me. This thing should have died. Like, why? But it has 2 wounds. However, I have 2 stands to his 1. I'm scoring that zone. Really want Hold Ray to be on that zone a little earlier. what a guy. And then the Ironclad is scoring this zone. So I'm scoring 3 out of the 4 objectives. I'm getting 6 plus another 3, 9 points. My opponent's only getting 3, so I'm really shooting up the table in points. But I'm still worried about the Ashendon. Like, it's the end of turn 6. I haven't done really anything to the Ashendon. I don't think they can really come back to this. Like, I'm really going far in the score, and he can only score 2 things at once. So after I kill that Sealed Temple, it's going to be kind of running around, running away, trying to score stuff here and there, keep my opponent off stuff, like, set stuff up. So we're gonna see about that battle at the top right there. Like, this is the big kind of deciding point of, does the Ashendon live or do I live? Let's go to turn 7 and find out. Here's turn 7. So, things that happen first. My opponent wins the roll-off. Ashendon. Inspire Clash into the Warders. Because he only got 2 stands in, he's only cleave 1. Wardens actually live on 1 health with their other stand back there in the character. I'm like, sweet. Ironclad Drake draws. Charges into the Ashendon. Does a bunch of damage. I think my opponent blesses this. So it reduces damage. I think I kill a stand. Then my opponent, I think he rolls up Sealed Temple, attacks the Hold Ray. Hold Ray finally goes and he says, we're going to clash and then march, and I do the 2 wounds, get onto the zone, scoring it. Sweet. Next thing it goes, Wardens, they attack. They are 9 attacks, re-rolling because the command stand, because of the Ironclad Drake being around, the characters re-rolling, so they all re-roll their attacks. I get like a bunch of attacks in. I think I kill another Ashen Dawn. They're like re-rolling Resolve. I cast the -1 Resolve spell into the Ashen Dawn as well. So they lose 2 stands. They go down to 3. So now their Resolve of 5 is now 4. They're re-rolling the flanks. I'm like, okay, you know, stacking those bonuses, getting those cleave ones in, burning through the blessed. Like, you know, we're going for it. My opponent's Ashen Dawn on the left over here. They, you know, just march charge in. Do a bunch, blesses, I think he blesses the impacts and just like kills off 2 of my stands. I rally clash back, kill off one of his stands, and it's like, yay! Kind of fucked back there, but all right. He's scoring that zone. It's fine. I'm scoring this zone. And then lastly, the Warden unit on the right side rolls. I think they need like a 3 to get in. I just did it because I was like, fuck it. I got nothing else. Rolls, gets in there, does the side clash, re-rolls on the command stand. I get like 19 out of 21 hits, all cleave 1, blast through my opponent's defense, and then my opponent's on 4s, re-rolling the Resolve. I kill 2 stands, but breaks and shatters them. And then at that point, my opponent calls it, because I am scoring 2 to his 1. He only's got 1 regiment left. He's in a really good spot to kind of wipe stuff out, and he probably could have ran around the table, probably killing everything else off, but I would have just started running stuff over to like sacrifice to hold him off kind of thing. I would have been like, here, take my Ironclad Drake, while everyone else runs off to score. Like, I'll just do it in orange. Like, the Argent Killua and the Wardens would have started making a beeline over to this one. Initiates would have just reformed whatever way the Ashen Dawn are coming. I think the Ironclad Drake has 6 health left. Like, it's not going to survive Ashen Dawn. I'm not going to get another setup like that, probably. It's going to take a lot of work. As you saw throughout the game, it took kind of like 3 turns to set up the Ashen Dawn so that I could kill them. So I'm kind of fine with him chasing my stuff at this point, because I just have such a huge points lead that I'm just going to score out by the time he kills everything else out, and he's not going to be able to keep up on score anyway, even with killing my stuff. If I can get him to kill my stuff and be off zones, that's really good. If I can make him waste time running between zones and killing my stuff, that's even better. But yeah, at this point, my opponent and I call it, and we'll go to score. Here's the score. I have, was that 36? So we got 36. And then all the things I killed. I have 10 cards. My opponent only has 1 card left, so it's 9 cards, so it's another 18 points plus Warlord. So it's plus 20. So we got 56. There we go, perfect. My opponent has 24, 25. We'll just do some blue. I lost all 3 of my Flame Berserks and an Argent Killua character by that point, so that is 4 cards. So that's 8 points plus 8. That was it. 33. There we go. So 33 on turn 7. Overall, pretty good game. I really liked how the Wardens traded up into a lot of stuff. Like, once Wardens got fighting, they were doing a lot of work. The +2 attacks on the command stand, and then if they're close by an Ironclad Drake and getting rerolls, it's just a ton of work. You're usually getting like all 9 of those hits. What is good work? The initiate block, probably, like, you know, got a little greedy at one point with the not inspire clashing. Should have just done it anyway. Just finish off Sealed Temple, get my opponent to have less stuff. Like, I was gonna do it anyway, but it was just kind of like, you know, just do it. Like, if I inspired clash and got those 4 extra wounds, I could have scored that zone, so we could have got more points. So it was like, it's missing points on my end. Then the Initiates and Holy Ray could have came up and relieved that Warder unit on the right. My opponent's big mistake, I think, like, everything he did was pretty good. Mounted Squires probably could have held back, and Sealed Temple could have gone up first to be like kind of like a wall, and then charge the Mounted Squires into the side of the Initiates to get that Opportunist. But then the Mounted Squires are getting charged on the side by Wardens, and they're getting chewed up. Like, it's kind of a back and forth, and I'm just gonna probably win that fight, like on the right side. Merc crossbows could have been over a little bit to shoot better, but they were kind of fine for where they were. I didn't mind what my opponent was kind of going for on his 6-inch closer to his side of the table with the different Household Knight units and the Sealed Temple. We were kind of training back and forth until he kind of ran out of stuff. I think his big mistake was that he deployed the Ashen Dawn on the right side to kind of support it, but then he realized that I was going to take the middle if he didn't do anything. And at that point, he would have just had 2 Ashen Dawn units on the sides, and I could have taken my time to just surround and eat one of the 2 Ashen Dawn units. Like, I ended up doing it anyway, but it would have been easier for me to do because I would have had more time to set it up and not like kind of rushing around for it. Trying to look for the setup, I would have just prepared it better so that, you know, like things are going in at a time, scaring him, pushing him off, sending up a sacrifice, getting the Ironclad Drake in like the side instead of the front, you know, doing stuff like that. So yeah, the left side there, Ashen Dawn took a unit of Flame Berserkers and were on a zone, and they had, like, they wanted something also falling behind the Ashen Dawn to take that zone. Ashen Dawn, like his second unit that was spinning around and got eaten, should have gone beside those Ashen Dawn and just ran through the broken terrain and still fought to reinforce the middle to try and take it from me. I think that was where the big battle was this game, was for the middle, and I took it, what allowed me to split him in half and then gobble up a side. To counter that, he came back to the middle on my side, but at that point I was kind of like, all right, like I'm shooting so far ahead on points. Even if we kind of spend the next, what is it, 8, 9, and 10, 3 turns running around in his Ashen Dawn killing a thing a turn, so he would have scored probably another 6, and then let's say he's on the scenario for another 6 as well, so it's 12. He would have been at 45. So even if I score nothing more, I'm still outscoring him at this point. Like, he can't recover, and I'm fine just feeding my opponent points so that I can run off and score stuff and keep generating points and, you know, keep a lead to win. Yeah. Besides that, thank you for watching this battle report. If you liked it, I was told you're supposed to like and subscribe. You're an adult, do it. If you would like more BonkTable content, there's probably something on the YouTube channel that might pique your interest. If you want to talk to me, there's always the BonkTable Discord. Links in the description below. And we also got a podcast if you want to listen to any of our ramblings with my wonderful co-host Cassandra. Hope everyone has a great day. Bye.